Okay. Tell us your full name.
My name is Darian Nafez EL Merhibi.
How do you spell it?
Which one?
The whole thing. Okay, no, the last name.
The EL Merhibi is EL-Merhibi.
Okay. We're very excited to have you here because I think you'll be the first bona fide Dada B that we get to interview. So tell us about your childhood, starting with East Airport. What do you remember?
I remember how I got this scar right here.
Okay.
I think it was such an interesting. We were at assembly and told us don't close your eyes and walk around because there are pillars in the school.
Wait, hold on. You were at assembly in school. What's the name of the school?
East Airport.
East Airport
International
School. Okay.
Yes.
How old were you at that time?
I think 7.
Okay. So but why would they say you shouldn't close your eyes and walk at assembly?
Because of the pillars. They were square pillars. So.
But you were walking around with your eyes closed whilst walking at assembly?
No. It said during school hours,
Mm-hmm.
do not close your eyes and walk around. Otherwise, you might hit a pillar.
The reason why I know you're saying this like it's normal, but I don't remember people closing their eyes and walking around in school. Was this something that was happening at East Airport?
There's a game, Jack, where are you?
Okay.
I am here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it might have been popular in the school. That's why.
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? Let's play the game. Like, I'm going to open my eyes. It's like just a bit. So I'll see through and not hit my head. And I gathered some friends and decided to play the game. I was opening my eyes a bit to see where they were, so I don't hit the pillar.
Uh-huh.
And for the split second that I did close my eyes, I hit a pillar.
The pillar came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Were you bleeding?
Yeah, it was a lot. The scar, there was blood everywhere.
Okay.
Took a school bus and took me to a clinic.
Okay.
Funny enough, I wasn't living with, but I used to stay with my cousin, my dad's sister's daughter.
Okay. What's her name?
Layla.
Okay.
So we used to go there a lot. I just loved being around her.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and I so the clinic was close to her house. Mm-hmm. But I was in so much pain and I was so dizzy. I wasn't thinking about that. But I saw the road and I was like, why does this look familiar? But I was also crying. It's like just multiple thoughts. Mm-hmm. So it took me to the clinic and the doctor was like, they have to stitch it. And they were like, put a needle through it and like, one more, don't worry. And put another one more, don't worry. And funny enough, I completely forgot about this part of the memory. It was just, I think last year that I was there one day and boom, I just remember the doctor being like, one more, and putting a needle through my eye.
Wow.
So
do you remember the people you were playing the game with?
Not at all.
Okay. But this must have been a big incident in the school.
Must have.
Yeah. So you were about 7 then. And before then, were you a boisterous child? Were you climbing trees, running around? Or...
No, I was more of a quiet and reserved child.
Okay. Did the injury have any effect on you, do you think, in terms of maybe taking instructions, listening to others? Because you're saying yourself that the instructions were given explicitly in school that don't do this. You decided to do it, which means you don't like to listen, right? And then there were consequences. What do you think did that have an impact on you or not really?
Thinking about it now, I think so, because thinking back, growing up, I just listened to instructions. I mean, if it did make sense, and I just listened to the instruction.
Okay, so that's after the incident.
It seemed like, thinking about it now, it's very simple. You just do what it's tell you to do. It's not that hard. So thinking about it now, I think,
okay,
it might have been a reason.
Did you ever play the game after the
injury? No, I can't remember playing that game.
After that injury?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So East Airport, how long were you in that school for?
I'm not really sure, but I know during the time I was there, we lived in East Legon. We had a really nice house.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very, that part of my life was stress-free.
Okay.
Yes, it was very, if I could go back in time to it,
To that time.
it would be so lovely.
Okay. Okay. So, but how long did that last for? So you were about 7 when the injury happened. You were in East Legon enjoying the Dada B life.
Right?
When did that change?
I think when we had to move out,
And how old were you about the time you had to move? If you had to estimate.
maybe nine,
Okay.
about 9, 10.
So, before. So when you had to move out, were you aware as a child coming up that we're going to have to move out in maybe 3 months or 2 weeks, or was it? Did it take you by surprise?
Yeah, it did. It just, Darren, we're moving.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't I was just sad because there was a neighbor we had. So it was a compound house, but it wasn't rooms. It was full houses in the compound.
Okay.
Yes. So there was a neighbor, a Nigerian, and I used to go to him a lot because my mom used to complain I watch TV too much. So I sneak to his place to watch TV or to play games or to talk to him. And they liked having me around. And it was really fun. But
Do you remember his name?
not at all.
Okay. So you used to sneak to his neighbor's house, and one day your mother told you we have to move.
Yes. So,
Do you remember the day you were moving? Do you remember the moving day?
no.
Okay. So then you moved and went where?
We moved and I think we went to Spintex.
Okay.
Yes.
Who did you stay with in Spentex?
So my mom.
Okay.
It was a much smaller place, but it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you make new friends there?
Oh yes, I did.
Okay. You had to go to a new school?
Yes, I did, but I think when I was younger, I wasn't really good at English or math because growing up, it was mostly Arabic. Everything was in terms of Arabic, the language, the math, everything. So moving to a Ghanaian school with the little English I understood, it wasn't. I was taken back. So I was repeated so I could take the English classes again from scratch, learn the alphabets properly. Yes, and the math to it's different. I mean, same answer, but different method.
Person. Yeah. But do you remember the name of the school you went to in Spentex? No.
No, I wasn't there for long.
Okay.
Then I moved again.
Where to?
The school, Heritage Academy.
Okay, where's that?
O2 Bloom. Yes.
O2 Bloom.
Yes.
Is that?
It's in Accra. I've forgotten the name of the area itself, but it's also called O2 Bloom.
Okay, that's Heritage Academy. Do you remember any friends there? Well, do you remember your first day at Heritage Academy?
Yeah, I was also taken back again.
Okay, so but walk me through. You had to move there. You go there on your first day. Who do you meet? Do you meet the teacher? Do you meet the headmaster? What was the process of getting there?
Okay, so when I got there, they showed me around the school. There was a section for, little kids. They don't add everyone together. The buildings are big and separate. So they took me to the class, showed me around my mom, and they asked about my English proficiency and everything, and it wasn't the best. So they're like, oh, if that's the case, then I have to start from class 1.
Okay. How old were you at that time?
I think this is around the time that I was, around 9, 10 there. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was the same year.
Okay. So you were about 10 years old. They had to take you to class 1. How did you feel at that time?
Honestly, I kind of felt stupid.
Okay.
yeah, I kind of felt stupid because there's this whole thing about being repeated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and from what little I had known then, it was such a bad thing. And my mom was always on me. During my younger years, she'd get upset real quick. And I didn't like upsetting her, but it's something that was inevitable. So getting repeated, I knew she'd be disappointed. Yeah, so it was very uncomfortable.
Okay. But I want us to because it's not a usual experience, right? So you're in class 1, you're about 10. There are people in the class that are what, 6, 7.
Yeah.
You're much older than they are. You would already feel separate.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also we have Lebanese heritage. So you stand out in Ghana, right?
Oh, I do.
So what I'm getting is the theme of you being separate from an early age. How did you see yourself, or how do you see yourself in Ghanaian society growing up? Even from that early age, and how did you process friendships and relationships in class 1 as a 10-year-old?
Okay. So during that time, I used to think of myself as the herd of sheep, and every sheep is maybe a particular color, maybe brown or black, and I was the white sheep, or I'll tell you like a zebra.
Okay.
Every zebra had stripes except me. So like it was very obvious. And during that time, they used to say, if you're looking for me, just need to look in the crowd for the one that shines.
Okay.
the glowing one in the crowd, like that's Darian.
Okay.
Till today, there's so many jokes.
Okay. So you stand up, but I know you have a quiet personality, but it means that you stand out even though you don't go out looking for that attention.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? How do you balance your personality of wanting to be quiet and left alone with the fact that you stand out where you are?
I think because of how I was, because of where I found myself when I was young, I innately adapted. I began to gain the traits of adapting to any situation I find myself in, whether good or bad. So when I find myself with a group of people, I begin to pick up their traits and act like them to fit in. So till today, I find it's something that I have to actively put a stop to if I don't like those traits. But I just try and fit in, merge into a puzzle, a piece of a puzzle, try and fit in as best as possible. Yes, so funny enough, with Lebanese people, with Arabic, the Ghanaian accent is easy to take up, to pick up. Yeah, so that was easy at first, and I just tried to make some friends, and it was, everyone wants to be friends with a fair boy. So it wasn't difficult, but because of how quiet and reserved I was, first week or two, I didn't go to lunch, I didn't really talk to anyone, I didn't do anything, I just sat in class. So if you talk to me, sure, but if you don't talk to me, I'll just be sitting down.
Okay. All right, so then class 1, then class 2, and class 3, you're still about 3 or 4 years older than your classmates. Where did it ever become a problem?
No, I don't like telling people my age.
You don't like telling people your age?
Yeah, I didn't like telling
people. So you have a football age?
Because my peers would most likely be younger than me. And usually, if you are older than everyone in the class, means you're stupid. Yeah, because
so you don't like being seen as...
Yeah, being stupid or not smart. Let me say it like that.
Okay.
Not being seen as not smart.
Okay.
Yes, and if you're older, it means you're repeated. So for the longest time, I was embarrassed of the fact that I was taken back. So no one knew my age, no one knew my status of being repeated or any of those things. It was very embarrassing.
Okay. But I would imagine at some point you're going to hit a growth spurt whilst the rest of your classmates haven't hit that spurt yet, right? Because that's the thing about adolescence. Were you a small child? Were you smallish in stature?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. So then if you were going to grow tall by like 13, 14, 15, right? Or let's say 14, and your colleagues are 10, 11?
No, it wasn't that big a gap. It
Okay.
wasn't that big
So
a
what
gap.
was it, like 2-3 years? Oh,
Yes, it's 3 years, yes.
okay. So it means that there was no growth spurt that
No,
made
it
you
wasn't
stand
that
out.
obvious. Some
Okay.
people I was the same height as,
Okay.
and others I was taller than. I just look normal.
Mhm.
And sometimes I feel like your mind has a lot to do with how your body matures. And if you're trying so hard to fit in, your mind will actually adjust your body to how it is. It might not be the truth, but there are some things that I think of and I go and research and I realize that, oh, this is actually true. This is actually how it works. And the mind is a powerful tool. So
Okay.
I like to think that, but I don't think so, though.
Okay. All right. So, but then let's go back. So, did you always then struggle with the math? Because you explained how maybe learning first math and Arabic, and was it always a problem, or did you get to a point where you were good enough to be in the middle of the class or to be on top of the class in terms of math and Arabic and English? Right?
English. For math, no. I wasn't really good at math.
Okay.
It was very annoying. But for English, that was quick. The shift was very quick. And as soon as I gained English, I lost Arabic.
Okay. So you don't speak Arabic anymore?
No.
You don't write it?
I'm learning now, but...
You're trying to learn?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to learn it now?
Well, first of all, it's because of my heritage.
Okay.
It's still a part of me. And when I'm among my family that do relate in Arabic and with the culture, I find myself out of place. And when I am with my Ghanaian aspect, I find myself out of place. So I try as much as possible. I want to fit in there. And I think this year too, my pastor told me he thinks that I should learn Arabic and follow instruction.
Okay. So speaking of your heritage, just in case it's been missed, what's your heritage?
Okay, so my mom is Ghanaian and my dad is Lebanese.
Okay. So how tapped in are you with the Lebanese community in Ghana?
When I was younger, I was tapped in because of my cousin Layla.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a daughter Samaya, and she was like the sister I never had. I loved going to visit them. So whenever I visit, I was in that atmosphere, in that culture. She would, I call her Auntie Layla, but she was my cousin. So Auntie Layla would take me out, would take me to Samaya's friend's place with Arabic family and everything, take me to Arabic restaurants, feed me Arabic food, tell my mom to feed me Lebanese food. So funny enough, growing up, because of that, my mom tried to make my meals as diverse as possible. Yeah. So with my cousin Layla, I was, but at some point, especially when she left, that I sort of lost that.
Where did she leave to?
I think she went to Lebanon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were you when she left?
Oh, I think I was 18, 19, yeah.
So are you still in touch with her?
Not often, but yeah.
You try to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what's your relationship like? You've spoken a bit about, of course, your cousin, your aunt, later. You've spoken about your mom. You haven't spoken much about your dad.
Yeah. Well,
Do you want to touch on that?
I actually don't mind.
Okay.
So funny enough, I've never met my dad, and when I was young, it's like, because I went to Easter Port, everyone has a mom and dad, and I was just at least in my class, I was the only one who had a father, and I didn't really know how to spell my last name properly.
Okay.
So I think this year or last year, I realized that how I spell my name as a kid, which got on every document now, is actually different from how his name is originally spelled. Okay. So, as my friend joked recently, he said, I'm the first of my line.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So I used to watch TV and Don Mo will be singing, God is good, and the clouds behind him, he's glowing, and I'm like, Daddy? I think he's my father.
Okay.
Or I'd want him to be. Because
Okay.
that aspect was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Interesting. So, but then you're talking about watching TV and seeing Don Moen, and so what role did religion play in your family, and how were you introduced to religion?
okay, so I'm not sure my mom, but I'm not sure, but I think she has a Muslim name.
Okay.
But for as much as I've been alive, she's been Christian.
Okay.
At some point, she did have to change her name because of her beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, it was a Christian household. Yeah. My dad was Lebanese. My cousin, Aunt Layla. You know, everyone is auntie and uncle when you're young. So, yes. So for the longest, I didn't even know my mom's name. She was Mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I didn't know her name was Rashida Mohammed.
Okay.
Yes. So that really didn't factor into Christianity or Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I just had both sides of it in my life, but more of Christianity because I stayed with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But that got more intensive when she started going to Christ Embassy.
Okay.
When she started going to Christ Embassy is when I moved to Heritage Academy because
Okay.
the school was close to the main church. Aveno.
Aveno, that's the
That
place.
is it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because it's Christ Embassy Aveno.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad you remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I'm still trying to understand. So your mom went to Christ Embassy and then you followed.
Yes.
Okay. And I know you handle, well, you're part of church leadership, if I can put it that way, right? You handle the equipment,
Yeah, I'm part of the technical team.
the technical team.
So everything that is tech related,
Okay.
besides the camera and stuff,
Okay.
we handle.
So walk me through your introduction to Christ Embassy and how you ended up in the technical team.
Okay, so as a kid, my mom started going to church there and she started working there. So I'd also follow her after school, then I go to her office. Then I just be with her the whole day. So I knew everyone in the staff office knew me. I was one of only two kids. There was me and the younger girl called Blessing.
Okay. Blessing, what do you remember?
No,
Blessing.
I'm not the best with names.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So we were the only two kids. So we'd be around. And that time I wanted to be an actor or a musician. I love to sing.
Okay.
Yeah. So the regional pastor for Christ Embassy, Pastor Bildun Lawa, and his wife, Pastor Lisa, they'd come and give us like provisions with food and stuff to myself and Blessings, like to eat and be fine. And they'd give us a lot of things and make sure like the only kids in the office are fine. And it was a working space, but it was also a family. And as a kid, I probably didn't know the intricacies of it, but it felt like a safe place. Growing up, my mom stopped going to church there. Okay. And I also stopped. And she moved to a different church. But because I grew up so much at Christ Embassy, a lot of the teachings were instilled in me. I enjoyed that environment. So moving to another church was weird for me. I just didn't want to go to church anymore. So during my time in high school, I didn't go to church. I think junior high school too. Yeah, every Sunday, I'm not feeling well. And my mom would come back from church and miraculously I'm healed. And she knew, but she just didn't talk. Sometimes she would force me to come to church and I'd be grumpy and she'd be pissed. But I'll go and come back. And at some point, she just left me. Just left me. And I found my way back.
Okay. So you mentioned that you wanted to be an actor.
I love TV.
You love TV. Okay, you said that. And what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite Ghanaian movie?
Adam's Apple.
Who's my idea? Who's in Adam's Apple?
Joycelyn Dumas.
Okay, I'm not going to ask why.
Jackie Appiah.
You see, and I don't want to be stereotypical, but I'm wondering if you wanted to be an actor because of Van Vicker and Majid Michel.
No.
Why, you think they are bad actors?
I don't think so, but I mostly watched foreign shows as a kid.
Okay.
And Visa One.
Okay.
So they show it and I'd watch and I just enjoy it so much. I want to also do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I realized I could also sing a bit, so I also wanted to sing small. And I was
You could
watching
sing.
a bit.
Can you just give us
No,
a brief? No, I mean, okay. So let's go back because we've covered a lot, and I want us to just go back and capture those moments. So, what do you say? Heritage Academy.
yeah,
You were there till when? BC, or did you leave before?
I left before.
Okay. What did you do after that?
I went to Unique Child International School. That's where I had my JHS.
Okay. So, where is Unique Child International School?
Greater Estates.
I mean, you know what? I started off by saying the first ZB because everything we're hearing is international school. We're not hearing basic
Oh, I mean,
P1.
now everyone attaches international to their school to seem like all
Okay.
that. But back then, Unique Child I was part of the pioneering batch.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know what led you to Unique Child? Why did your mom take you there?
We're moving again.
Okay. Where did you move to?
I think we went to stay with one of her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So when we went to Greater Estates, we checked for a school around, and I think my mom's friend son went to school there. She was like, "Okay, let me try it out." And I
Do you remember his name?
Yeah,
Your
Brian.
mom? Brian what?
Nah.
So you're your mom's friend, Auntie what? What's her name?
Novi.
Auntie Novi.
Yes.
So Auntie Novi's son Brian.
Yeah.
Okay. Also went to Unique
Child International.
International School, Greater Estate. What are your greatest memories from Unique Child International School?
During the time when we were getting close to BC, the proprietress had a house next to the school, and she wanted us to study real hard because we are the pioneers of the school or something. So she made it into like a mini boarding house for us to stay there. And yeah, I think that experience then was really nice. I was able to be myself around my friends like from morning to evening. Yeah, so that was a nice time. But there's no particular day or thing that happened. It was mostly the people.
Okay. Did you have any teachers that you really liked in that school? Or?
Yes, Mr. Che.
Mr. Che.
Yeah.
What did you like about Mr. Che?
He was a math teacher.
Okay.
I really like him. I really like Mr. Che. He thought well. He thought well, and he tried as much as possible to engage the class with not just teachings, but with stories and jokes that would get us to. Because the more we liked him, the more we wanted to listen to what he had to teach. We're excited to see him in the class compared to the other teachers who just wanted to do their jobs.
Okay.
Yeah. But later on, a headmaster came, Mr. Dodu.
Mr. Dodu.
Yeah, he was the English and social studies teacher. He said when he was young, he likes telling stories of when he was younger.
Okay.
So sometimes the whole class, he's just talking about his past.
Okay.
Yes. And maybe he'd add it to what he's teaching, but he mostly talk about his life, like moral lessons and whatnot. So he said when he was a kid and the teacher was coming, you say, "Oh, do." Or bo, but or do. So we started doing when we saw him coming, then we shout in the class, "Oh, do!" Then everyone just gets into place.
Okay.
That was fun.
So now, how well did that batch do in terms of BC? And then after that, how well did you do?
Okay. Honestly, I'm not telling anyone, but I was repeated.
You were repeated?
Yeah.
After?
Not after the BC, before.
Before the
My
BC.
grades were slipping massively. I remember a time I was in the taxi and my mom saw my results and she was yelling at me in the taxi. And I don't know where this taxi driver came to add himself, but my mom was like, "I watch TV all day. I start in the morning and I end in the night. Sometimes I end the next day dawn. I don't study." And the driver was like, "His son also watched TV, but his son is first." I'm like, "Bro, who invited you?" She's already mad. No need to make it worse. He was there, like, being all, like, proud of his son and talking to his son. His son watched TV and he's like, "Have you seen? At least the son is first in the class. You can't even be second." And I think that time she promised me that if I was second in class, she buy DSTV for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Disney Channel a lot and Nickelodeon, you know, those shows. So I really wanted to watch those shows. So like, I wasn't doing very well. I think the proprietors didn't want a bad nut in her pioneering class.
Yeah.
So she took me back. I think it was math.
Mm-hmm.
Math was the major issue.
Yeah.
So I think Mr. Che really invested in me during that time. I had extra classes, and because of the DSTV, it gave me motivation, and I managed to be second. And
You're second in class?
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, from the...
So you got a DSTV in there?
No.
So that was your first scam. You got
Yeah.
You should probably said it's for your own good anyway. Did you ever ask about the DSTV?
Yeah, I did. I asked about it. She said I shouldn't worry. She gets it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, I knew that, okay, maybe so. I didn't realize it then, but growing up, I realized the pressure was a lot on her. She's not going to add DSTV to expenses. Yeah. So when I realized that, I was like, remember when you told me you gave me DSTV, I was second. There's this thing called Go TV. It's free.
Yeah. so you got a Go TV?
No.
Every time I think that it's going to be.
No. She tried. She really did try hard. But
so then eventually wrote the BC.
Yeah, I did.
And how did you do in the BC?
Oh, it was mostly B's.
Mostly B's.
I think an A here. I did GAN.
You did GAN.
I can't.
So how's your GAN?
Terrible. I understand a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Chono will always come to class and
Chono.
Chono always come to class and he try to force me and looking back now, I now realize that if you don't want to learn something, no matter how much pressure is put on you, you're not going to learn it. Because I didn't want to learn the GAN. And we had classes almost every 3 days. I think twice a week, let me say like that. Yeah, but I had the exams though. I got like a C. I tried.
You tried?
Yeah.
Okay, so then after BC, where did you go for SHS, another private international school?
Oh no.
Okay, where did you go?
I went to St. Thomas Aquinas.
Okay, as a day student?
Yes.
Okay, because I can't imagine you in boarding school.
Oh no. I've heard stories.
So, do you remember your first day there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, but before we come to that, did you ever do anything sports related whilst you were in school? Football, athletics?
No, I was still very reserved and very quiet. I like to keep my clothes clean and tidied. Okay. I was a thing that maybe if I ironed it, can I bring it back just as iron and just as clean as how I took it? Okay. Yeah, I was that person. Like,
did you ever get like because I know in some schools they give awards for like neatest kid?
Yeah, I did in I think Heritage Academy.
Yes,
I did. Yes, I was weird. I was a bit weird back then.
Why are you using past tense?
No,
do you
because
think you overcome all your weirdness?
Yes, because before, even with how I ate, I used to eat. I used to separate the food and eat each of the different ingredients separately, then combine them. Like if it was rice and beans and plantain and chicken, I eat the chicken, the plantain, beans, and the rice separately. Then I combine the plantain and the beans, the plantain and the chicken and the rice. Yeah, it was a whole thing, and that has stopped. So I'm not as weird.
It stopped?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's still an order to how I eat though.
Okay. So how did you come up with that order? Is it just something you came up with yourself?
I just realized one day I was doing it. There's a system to eating. Okay. Like the food always has to be layered. One day someone pointed it out that why every time you're eating, your food is always layered if it's in a bowl. Yeah, I realized I clear it. Then I now move to the side. It's weird, I know. But
okay.
It's
what's your favorite food?
It changes also often, but right now, it's yam and contemporary.
Okay.
Contemporary is just good. It's just good.
Do you cook?
Yeah, I do.
Sorry, let me ask again. Do you cook well?
I cook certain meals well.
Okay, like what?
Don't give me hate for this, but I make a mean Indomie.
Indomie? Yeah, come on.
No, you see, when you eat mine, you know there's a difference.
What's your secret to making Indomie? Like, walk us through how you make Indomie that's different.
I want to share my secret.
No, just give us a fair idea. Don't give us the final thing, but just give us the layered approach to Indomie.
Okay. So you boil the water and you put when it's boiling, you put the noodles in it. You take it out, you strain it, leave it out for a bit, put a bit of oil so it doesn't stick so much together.
Okay. Where do you put the oil
So it comes with a sachet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you tear it up, pour a bit of oil so it doesn't stick together.
That's after you strained it?
Yeah, that's after you strained it. Yes. Then here comes with the stir-fried stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's about what I put in the stir-fried stuff, and there's a secret ingredient.
Okay. All right. If you say so, I'm not going to argue with you there. All right. So St. Thomas Aquinas. Did you have any friends there?
St. Thomas Aquinas. Yeah, I did.
Who? What are their names? Mention one.
Samuel, Gerhard.
Again, you don't remember their last names, do you?
I do. I still know him today.
Okay, so his name was
Agbozu.
Samuel Agbozu.
Gerhard Agbozu. So
okay, no, just so
Agbozu.
It's clear. Mention his name, his full name.
Samuel Gerhard Agbozu.
Okay.
Agbozu.
You are still friends with him today?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you meet him? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, walk us through it.
He wasn't the first person I met though, but like it was a thing when I moved to new schools. I tried to observe everyone and how they are. So for the first 2 weeks, I didn't eat. I didn't really talk to anyone. I didn't do anything. I was always sitting in class till the day ended, and I'd just be watching. So I think one day he noticed I wasn't going out to eat. I mean, then again, I didn't know where the canteen was, but I didn't want to ask. So I was just observing until maybe I'd find out. So he approached me with another friend of mine, and he asked me, like, are you okay?
Who's that friend? The person he approached you with?
Joshua Botti.
Okay.
Yeah, so
carry on.
They approached me and they asked me, why are you okay? Like, why don't you go out to eat? And I told them that I don't know where the canteen is. It's like, oh, you show me. Yeah, and from then, we just started working together and we just fit in well. And we started sitting together too.
Okay. Interesting. So did you have any other friends in
Yeah, I did. There was this, when anime was unpopular back then,
Okay.
When you're a geek for watching anime, nowadays everyone is mainstream, everyone wants to watch anime. I dislike the new ones.
Okay.
But back then, I think it was then my first STEM or term in high school that I got really invested in anime. So there was this group of boys who rewatched anime. So there was James, I don't remember his last name. Kwati. James Kwati. Yeah. And Kingsley. Yes, I think Kevin.
Those were the anime guys.
No, Kingsley wasn't. He was just very smart, and I just wanted to be around him so I can learn from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you study in school? Were you a science student?
Yeah, I was.
You were?
Yeah, I was very fascinated with science. When I was younger, I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be a new surgeon. I wanted to be a lot of things. But I liked knowing how things worked. So I used to take apart the TV and stuff. So going into high school, I knew that I wanted to do science.
So I'm trying to figure out, do you want to be an engineer because you like taking apart the TV? Or do you like the TV so much that you needed to know how it worked?
No, I just really like knowing how things work. That's why I was also interested in the brain, like how it worked, the interconnections of everything. So yeah, but with engineering was less slimy and bloody. So I was pushed towards devices. Yes, yeah.
Wonderful. Did anything significant happen, not necessarily to you, but like in St. Thomas Aquinas whilst you were there? Anything memorable?
Oh yeah.
Okay, give us one of those stories. What happened?
Yeah, so there was this intercore. Usually when intercore comes around, I don't go. I take it as, if I don't tell my mom, that means Gerhard and Joshua or James, maybe are going to do something. We are going to do something together. Maybe I'm going to Gerhard's place to watch TV or play games. Yeah, so maybe I won't tell her, but I would not go to the intercore. It was too noisy and too many people. Yeah. But so this one time, I decided to go. So the first day, I didn't go. I stuck inside the prefects.
Okay.
The prefects, they had an office. So I was just inside watching movies with Gerhard, and there was this. Then after, when I had finally come out of my cocoon, they had told me that another school came to attack and they were chasing everyone, and then they hit our PE teacher. I know PE teachers are supposed to be the most athletic and the strongest, and he was the most dangerous one in the school. So
okay.
If they attacked him, no, I didn't
Did
like
you go
him.
for PE?
Yeah, it's mandatory, so I had to go.
I feel like you were sneaking around watching movies and not going for PE.
No.
Okay.
I was too much of a good boy to run away. So it was like he was attacked. Yeah, and they broke the glass of the bus. The boys came, they were chasing everyone in the school, and there was a video, and you see girls you never imagine can run because of what they carry. You'd never
Were they carrying water? Like, what do you mean? Okay, carry on. But they were
because
running.
of their natural features.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be surprised they're running as fast, even faster than the boys.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd be running. I was like, wow, like you think they'll be slow, but these ladies were fast.
So what happened in the end?
So nothing. The next day, I was like, damn, I missed this because I was in my shell.
Why do you want to be part of it? Do you want to be involved?
I felt like every time something happened, I'm never around. The days I do take a chance and come, nothing happens. So I'm like, what? The next day I'm going to come. And that day we had the intercore in our school. So I was like, okay, so I'm coming Gerhard. And I think that time Gerhard was the disciplinary prefect. Okay. Yeah, because he was also muscular and he was big. Not fat, but big. So I hung out with him a lot. There were ladies and whatnot, and it's a boys' school, so they try to take advantage of the opportunity when it comes around. Yeah. So we decided to leave early because it was getting boring. And as we were stepping out the back gates, I heard one of the boys speak in the grass. He was like, I'm going to cause trouble. And he took a broom and he ran and used it to hit Gerhard's back. But he was wearing a backpack. So he just hit his backpack. And he grabbed it and looked at the guy. And the guy is like, he was big and strong. So the guy just left it. And because I'm so calm, sometimes I want to put extra efforts to, be tough. Okay. Yes, because I didn't like the fact that I was always too calm. So I was like, yo, let's what's wrong with you? The guy was like, relax, gentle giant. It's like, I should calm down, I should leave it. So we decided to step out. As we stepped out, I think I decided to buy a drink. And I saw some boys running from afar. I thought it was those men who run early in the morning and they're jogging and they're playing music. I thought it was maybe one of them. I thought it was like a group of them, coming, because my eyesight wasn't the best then. So I was just drinking the drink and one of them approached me as I was holding it and he pulled it. And I pulled it back and he was like, I want some. It's like, without ask for something, you can't just come and grab it. It's like, I want some. And his friend came. And his friend also came to pull it. And because of my mind, I'm always so calm. So no, I'm not going to allow it to walk all over me because I allow it all the time. But not this time. I'm not going to allow myself to be disrespected. So I grabbed it. I'm like, no. And I shoved it out of their hands. Let me know I'm surrounded by a bunch of boys from a different school. Where were these boys from? They were from a different school. Apparently, they had a grudge with our school. Okay. And I'm usually oblivious about that stuff.
Were you wearing your school uniform?
Yeah, I was. In fact, I was wearing the prefect outfit, so I was quite a target.
Okay.
The white prefect.
Okay. Okay.
Or at least the mixed prefect.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
fair guy.
So then, what? How did that end? Then
So they were all around me and they were making noise and they were shoving me, and in my mind I'm like, where is Gerhard?
I was going to ask, where was that at that time? Yeah.
Well, I'm like, where is Gerhard? But the situation was so overwhelming. They were all around me. There were a lot of boys.
Mm-hmm.
They were all making noise. And I told them that I was warning them to step back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to take this nonsense. Like, they should step back. I was backing back.
But do you think they were intimidated by that? Looking at it, I don't see how you saying step back when you are surrounded by all these people.
I was really aggressive.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see how
I was really putting
so when
on
you said
quite a
they
show.
step back.
No, they didn't. You know, boys, when you challenge them, they want to.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why.
Go where some guy jumped from the back and hit the back of my head. And like he jumped, like he really put effort into that. He jumped and he hit the back of my head.
Yeah.
And run away. I was like, who did that? Who did that? And like everyone was like, hey, he hit the Bruni. He hit the Bruni. I was like, I'm going to call the police. Like, do you know who I know? I'm coming to your school. Like, you guys are not going to write
So
exam.
where was Gerhard the whole time?
The guy was behind me. The crowd had pushed him out of the circle.
Okay, so how did this whole thing end?
Okay, it ended with me threatening them about not taking their WASI exams because I come there with the police, claiming I had authority, which I didn't have. And they were like, oh, sorry. Oh, we beg. Like, do you know who my father is? I don't even know who my father is. Yeah. So, like, because I was threatening them, they were actually believing me and they, like, apologized and, like, the guy is gone, we'll catch him. And I was like, it's fine. And I decided to walk away, and God mysteriously came beside me. And when we took a cab, I was like, ooh, like, that was close. Where were you? And he was laughing, I was laughing. I was like, that was quite a show. Everything was pretense. I was not that aggressive. Very soft.
So then, after Thomas Aquinas, there's what? WASI. SSC, right?
Yeah, WASI.
How did that go?
Yeah, that went pretty well.
Okay. Do you remember the day you saw your results? That's the.
Yeah, I didn't like the anticipation. Sorry.
What is the anticipation?
I didn't like the anticipation.
Okay.
So, as soon as I heard it was out, first there were rumors. So I just immediately went because I was anxious. I just went to the cafe guy. Was like, no, it's not out yet. So I think when it came on news, the thing is out, I just decided to come quick. The day it came out, that's the day I just went. I had money, I just went to check it myself, Start planning what I'll tell my mom just in case, Start planning to see if I can hide it and tell her I forgot the password. Yeah, but I saw the results and it was pretty decent. So I just went to show it to her. I'm sure she was thinking like, this boy is going to disgrace the family.
So what happened after that?
After that, I think I was still in the phase of not liking going to church. Yeah, but I really enjoyed physics back then, and that contributed to who my teacher was. Physics and biology, the way things worked once again. So after that, I was trying to learn a lot. I like knowing random facts. I like learning stuff. I like researching. So I know a bunch of things that you couldn't really apply, but like I just knew a lot of stuff, random stuff. I learned a lot. I read a lot of books and I watched a bunch of anime. That's the time where I finished Naruto. Okay. 720 episodes.
So how do you feel about that accomplishment?
Yeah, it's an accomplishment. My goodness. I should
take as someone who's gone to international schools, you can't be saying this on camera.
It was an accomplishment.
Good job. Good job.
It was an accomplishment for the anime community. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you finish Naruto One Piece, really solid.
Okay. So is there like a community that you're part of in Ghana, like Naruto or anime fan club?
No.
But does that exist?
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of did,
Okay.
and a lot were a picky, but yeah,
Okay. So your friend in school again, the one who was the prefect,
it get hard.
Gerhard. What's he up to now?
He's still in school.
Okay.
I think he had to do a weekend, so because of that, it takes longer for him to finish. So I think he's finishing this year.
Okay. So how are you still in touch with him? Are you guys close?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I talk to him often, not as often as I'd like, but when we talk, we catch up and
You catch up.
yeah, boys, we don't talk every day like that.
All right. So now, what next? After, how did you get back into church?
University.
Okay.
When I got into GTUC,
Okay.
Ghana Telecom,
Okay.
I still wasn't going to church. I think one day, a roommate, there was someone who came around. His name is Samuel. He came around and I found out that he was in the same class as I was going to be. So I'm like, oh, if you're looking for a room in the hostel, why don't you come stay with me since we are together? Since we're in the same class, we can do stuff together. But going into university, I set my mind that I'm not going to be the nice guy anymore. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be confident. Yeah.
You're rebranded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And because of that kind of character, I took it to extreme because I didn't know how to balance it. So I tried as much as possible not to be so nice, and I ended up being more of a rude person.
Okay.
Yeah. But funny enough, Sam and I really became good friends.
Okay.
He's one of my closest friends now. And
what's his name? Sam what?
Samuel Marty.
Samuel Marty. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So someone came to talk to him to come to church, and I think that time he played Shabo.
He played Shabo.
Yeah, he played Shabo.
What's Shabo? I have no idea.
Oh no, no!
Shabo is?
I shouldn't have said this.
So what's Shabo?
So I think it's when you go from bouncing from church to church playing an instrument.
Ah, okay, good.
We still haven't gotten to how I got back to church, so
no, we'll get there. So your roommate Samuel goes from church to church playing instrument. That's called playing Shabo.
Yeah.
Is this a known term in or is just?
Yeah, it is a known term.
Okay.
I actually learned it from him.
So were they paying him to play?
Yeah, they were paying him to play.
Okay. What instrument was he playing?
He was playing the drums.
Okay. So then, because of that, you went along with him?
No, so he was invited to CYC. Yeah, not to play Shabo, but he thought he was going to a different church, and he entered the wrong car and ended up at Christ Embassy.
He entered the wrong car.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a bus going to a different church, and they had invited him to go to that church, but like someone had also brought his car to bring people to Christ Embassy. Ended up thinking it was all one thing, and I'm sure he wanted to sit in a private car, so he sat in that one and ended up in Christ Embassy. And I think he began playing instruments, and he and another person I met, Lawe Caesar, Lawe started engaging with me more. He was very intelligent, so
Lawe Caesar.
Yeah.
Is that his actual name?
Yeah, Lawe is, I think it's a twin thing.
Okay.
So he's a
but
twin.
Caesar is his last name or his middle?
It's his last name.
Caesar.
Yeah.
Oh, where's he from?
He's a Ghanaian. I also thought he was a DB or like a foreign guy in the beginning.
Caesar is such a unique. I've never heard it as a
last name.
Yeah.
A Ghanaian last name. Yeah.
Okay. So then, so Samuel ended up pulling you.
Yeah.
To
So
Christ Embassy.
Samuel and Lawe started talking to me about it, but it's when the person who brought them to church also engaged me. And he used technology to engage me. His name is, he's now a pastor though. He's now my pastor actually.
Okay.
His name is Pastor Bernard.
Okay.
So he came in and he was showing AR, augmented reality with his phone and talking about technology. And I was really fascinated. So I started to like him. And through that, he managed to pull me to church. That's
Okay.
Christ Embassy. And because it was Christ Embassy, I'm like, CUIC is Christ Embassy, and I've been there before. I know the culture, I'm familiar, so why not just try?
Okay. So then you tried and you like church, or you like the technology that you get to play with at church?
So, interesting enough, where we went to wasn't where I thought we were going. It was CUIC is the Youth Church of Christ Embassy in Accra, and it has multiple churches under it. So Airport City is the main one, but where I went to is ARC. Now ARC was now starting church. The pastor there was Pastor Claude, and there were about 20 people. Yeah. So when I went there, it was mostly empty seats and about 20 people there. And there was this guy I saw that I liked.
So this is a question about those of you go to church and playing with technology. Do you actually listen to the sermons?
Honestly, not all the time.
Okay.
But I try as much as possible to listen to it after the recordings.
Okay.
Yes, but sometimes it's difficult to listen and work at the same time. So you have to put in extra effort.
So is it fair to say that's where the bad boys go and hang out, because they don't want to hear the word of God might be piercing their hearts, so they go in there so that they can use the technology to spy the girls?
So because of something like that, there's a process to go through before you join a team or a department in the church.
What's the process?
It's called foundation school.
So you have to go do
foundation school. So it will teach you the foundations of being a Christian and being born again and how you walk in life. So you have to write an exam and graduate before you can join any department. You can still be a member though, but after that you can join a department. But by then they have helped you mature enough to not be looking for.
So nobody can come and fake the exam and just pass it?
No, you cannot fake the exam.
So did you go through that, or by then it was?
I did go through it.
All right. So, and you get paid for working in the church?
No, I don't get paid for working in church.
Because in the office, we know there's an active debate. And I mean, some people are saying, not me, that you're just a hater. You don't want the musicians to get paid because you know that what you do in the back room, anybody can learn in one day. What's your position on musicians getting paid in church? Especially since your friend Samuel was, what do you call it again?
Shabo.
Yeah. So that was, I feel like you're coming with that Shabo experience and perspective. How do you feel about churches paying musicians?
My stance right now is that musicians are not entitled to being paid by the church. If it's maybe a full-time thing where they devote their entire time and there's an agreement for them to be paid, sure, they are full-time playing, and maybe they've given their life to that, and maybe there's an agreement, sure. But on an ordinary way, maybe it's midweek service and the Sunday service and rehearsals, I don't think should be paid. It's something that you should do for the Lord. Because funny enough, it's musicians who are actually demanding to be paid, but there are other departments that are working that, funny enough, don't request that. So
can you compare what a cameraman does to what a musician actually does?
You'd be surprised how difficult it is to handle that. The media team is quite a lot of work, and they will be justified to also ask to be paid if the musicians are also requesting to be paid and actually being paid. Then everyone will want to be paid. Then it's like they're going to work, they're not going to church, they're not serving the Lord per se. They are being paid to do the work of God.
Okay. So does someone still do the Shabo?
No. I mean, there was a time where he fell back. And he was
fell back into what? Shaboisms?
Yeah, Shaboisms. He fell back, but I had a conversation with him. I spoke to him about it. should come to church. Make a point to come to church and not to rely on that. And if he wants
But
to
he's
play,
doing Shabo for money.
no, but he's not consistent in church. He's jumping from one church to another. So it's more like he's going to work and his office changes every Sunday.
Yeah, so why isn't it okay for him to go and do that and then you give him the tapes for him to listen to it after?
That time we're not recording.
That time you're not recording.
I said we're not recording because we are small, we're like 20.
Okay, but now you're recording. But he's back in the church.
Yes. He's back. He's playing. He devotes a lot to it. And when
he's not getting paid.
No, he's not getting
And
paid.
you are happy seeing him without money.
No, he has money.
He has money.
That's
So
the
you
thing,
think
you
that
don't
because
need to
he's
be
been playing for free, God has blessed him with riches? Is that your
I
argument?
mean, yeah, God obviously. The thing is, God is not going to neglect those who like offer service in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so obviously he's growing rapidly right now because he has put in that work, not just on himself, but in the kingdom of God. Yeah, so obviously whatever effort he puts in, God is going to, multiply it.
So you're saying that your argument is that the musicians shouldn't look to man for their reward.
Yeah, they should
on
look
the
to
church,
God.
but God will bless them in accordance with his words.
With his word, because the thing is, it will become all about money and not about the word. So there's that.
So do you see yourself becoming a pastor anytime soon?
No.
Not soon.
No.
But eventually.
You're still going through the motions.
Going through the motions.
Yes.
What if you get the calling? How are you going to handle it? Are you prepared?
Right now, no, I'm not prepared. But I'm sure when the time comes and that is what God wants me to do, I probably will be prepared. But in the state I am in right now, I don't believe I am. Okay. I'm still also learning how to be a leader and how to serve. And there are certain traits I also need to adjust on myself.
Okay. So you're working on those traits?
Yeah, I'm trying actively every day.
In preparation
to being a better person.
Okay. All right. So, university, we haven't spoken a lot about university life. You said everybody wants to be friends with a fair guy. That's what you said earlier in this interview.
Yeah, well, it's when you're kids.
When you're kids. Yeah. But when you're an adult, it's not the same.
It's not the same. Everyone has their own beliefs and prejudice.
So, are you telling us that as a light-skinned guy in Ghana, you've suffered discrimination? Tell us about your struggles.
No, don't say like that.
No, because you're giving the impression that you've been oppressed. You've been oppressed in this society. So why don't you share so you can be relatable?
Okay, so not everyone is going to appreciate what I'm going to say, but the thing is, everyone goes through their level of difficulty, especially when it comes to how they look like or their beliefs. And sometimes when they see a rich person complaining or being sad, they're like, you have everything in the world. Why are you sad? Why are you saying that you're going through something? You're not. We are going through something. And the same thing I suspect people are going to say when I say, as a fair colored person, because I'm not white. I'm just, I'm mixed. So, but as someone who is fair and when I'm in a black community, I'm white to everybody, honestly. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they're going to be like, as a white guy, what do you think you've actually been through? Like, do you know what we have been through? Do you know what our sisters have been through? And I'm like, I mean, my sisters too were also enjoying some.
So you think that black people should stop complaining? You struggled like them?
No, not like them. But everyone has something they're going through. And for me, it was everybody judging me based on the color of my skin first. And I understand that no matter how you want to think, someone is going to first judge you by what they see first, which is how you look outside. But then what they do next or what you do next really counts for a lot. That interaction. And it mostly goes one or three ways. They're going to be very friendly. They're going to be very aggressive, or they're going to do I don't care. And they will intentionally do the I don't care because they feel like everybody cares. It's like either you like the person too much or you don't like the person. There are two extremes. So they try to do I don't care. And yeah, so sometimes you sit down and I don't know, because it's a fair person, you don't sit by him or you don't talk to him or let's be careful. So they will talk about you, but they will not talk to you. It's because
so your struggle is people talk about you and don't talk to you.
No, that's not. That is an aspect of it.
Okay.
That's an aspect of it because then you feel like an outsider. Because then, as I said before, then when I'm with my mom's side of things, I feel like an outsider. Then when I'm with my dad's side of the family, the Arabs, I also feel like an outsider. So then I'm an outsider in two places.
Okay. You just want to belong somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay. But some of these stereotypes that people have about fair colored people is wrong. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah. Sometimes it's been done so much.
Yeah.
I move from sad to angry.
Okay.
So it might be small, especially if I don't have that camaraderie with you.
Yeah.
It would, for example, if a close friend of mine like Sam, he has this nickname. He calls me colonizer.
Okay.
I laugh about it. It's funny.
Yes.
But if I don't know you like that, and you call me colonizer, I take offense. Or if one of my friends call me Obroni,
yes,
it's just jokes. He doesn't mean anything by it.
Yeah.
But then someone outside, they intentionally say that to. And when I was younger, you see, like, I don't know if parents teach their kids to do this, but you see little kids in like their panties and they say, Obroni, come on, yeah, this is going good. Then we dance around you, like these kids, and you can't also hit someone's child, like, I'm just walking like, Obroni.
But why does it upset you that you are called? There are advantages of being Obroni in this society. So
the thing is, then everyone's attention is like on me, and I don't want everyone's attention to be already. According to people, I'm glowing.
Okay.
Yeah, then you start Obroni, another person shout Obroni, then I heard Obroni Pete means white vulture. So then I was like, everyone was calling me Obroni Pete. They're calling me a vulture, like.
But a white vulture.
A white vulture.
And white vultures are more the colonizing vultures.
Like, bro.
Okay. So, but then, if someone were to, for instance, instead of saying you are from Lebanon, say you are from Libya, how would you react to that? And has that happened in the recent times?
Yeah, it did happen, and I was not happy about it, and I felt like
you wanted to beat him.
No, I felt like the person just wanted to get a laugh out of me. They just wanted to laugh, and you're laughing at my expense.
But then Libya means you're not Obroni. Why did you look at the positive? If they say you're Libyan, it means you're African.
Because I thought the person was thinking Libya was in the Middle East. So that would have made sense. But Libya is in Africa. And if I'm going to relate to Africa, I'm going to relate to Ghana.
Why not the rest of Africa?
I mean, sure. I can say, I wouldn't go around saying I'm an African. I'll say I'm a Ghanaian. It's the same way.
Well, you have a problem with Africans running around in their panties.
No, it's the same way someone from the continent, Asia, will not say he's Asian. You say I'm Russian or I'm Ukrainian.
So, I mean, what I'm getting is obvious, and it makes sense, the whole idea of belonging. I think it's something that you've probably had to deal with most of your life and probably are still dealing with, trying to figure out where you belong. So, if I asked you, what do you think the purpose of your life is? Is this something you've thought about? And do you have an answer?
Yeah, I mean, being in Christ, you have to think of that.
Okay.
Like, they really hammer on a lot of things and try to guide and navigate you, help. So, yes, what's my purpose in life? From where I stand right now, I think is to spread the gospel as far as wide as possible and try to help as many people become better versions of themselves, especially men, become better versions of themselves, because men have a lot of power, a lot of responsibilities, and when they decide to take the wrong path, there's more damage it would cause. So trying to help as many people as possible, especially when it comes to men. I mean, not that I'll not be there for ladies, but the boys need guidance. And if I can be there to help with that and also instill the word in them, I think that's a good.
Okay. So I think we agree that it's not fair for people to stereotype and judge you just based on your skin. But I have to ask this question. Are you a good dancer?
you know, some stereotypes are actually true though. they're actually just true. I'm a terrible dancer. It doesn't mean like fake people, white people can't dance. They are really cool, charismatic. I'm just not.
Chris
I'm
Brown is
awkward.
light-skinned and
You know,
he can dance.
see me.
He's
I don't
really,
know.
really light-skinned.
Okay. Well, there makes people are black though. You know, the black people accept them. But here, you know, you have to fight for it. I mean, my friends know me so much. They say I'm a black man in a white guy's body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the Lebanese community, especially in Ghana. Because yes, there's the question of belonging. One of the stereotypes for the Lebanese community in Ghana is that all the young guys, almost all of them ride motorbikes and can be, you know, quite have a lot of bravado. Do you identify with that? Why don't you ride a motorbike actually? Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, once in junior high school, my French teacher.
Your French teacher gave you a motorbike to
Yeah,
ride?
usually, sometimes I will not tell my mom, but I try to walk all the way to school from the house. And when I was going to Unique Child, and we lived in Community 18. So I'd walk all the way to Greater IST. I will not tell my mom, but sometimes I'd like to push myself to the limits. I like to push. And one day he saw me walking back from school, and he gave me a ride on his Royal, I think, yeah, his Royal motor. I don't know how those things work, though, but like he gave me a ride on it, and it was weird. And I think it was very scary because that was my first time. And in university, there was a Russian guy I used to run with. His name is Tony.
Do you know his last name?
No. Anthony. So
Okay.
he had a really nice bike.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think sometimes those 2 occasions, I sat on the bike to go to class, but I felt like I was going to be blown off the bike.
Okay.
Yeah, and it reminded me of when I was a kid. There are certain things, certain principles I instilled in myself with all the research that I did. No drinking, no smoking, no bikes. That's one of the few. Drinking now, don't overdrink, but I don't have a taste for it. I have a sweet tooth, so I don't do it. But even if I was to, I know that I like to have control over my body. So going overboard, I'd never do that. Yeah, so no smoking, no drinking, no bikes.
No bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. Okay, so you
Yeah. And you know, you've heard my mom too, she'll come and be like, you know, Uncle Rashid's his nephew died yesterday on the motorbike ride to Kumasi. And I'm like, damn. Yeah.
Okay, so you heard enough stories about that. Okay. So you've spoken about how you don't feel like you fit in. Have you tried to get close to the Lebanese community in Ghana? And is it something that you... Actually, I'm interested in. Have you tried it?
Now, no, because I don't know how to. But before, my cousin Layla, she was the gateway into that community because I'd visit her, I'd visit Samaya, and there'd be Arabic people, they take me out to get me the food and everything. So I'd be engrossed in the culture, engrossed with the people. She was the gateway. So when I meet one person and we become friends and I can relate to the person and we can be friends outside of that, my relationship with Auntie Layla, yeah. But when she left, I mean, before she left, there was a bit of some distance. But when she left, the gap just grew. So that gate was not there anymore. That path was not there anymore. So I don't really have a lot of, if at all, Arabic friends or Lebanese friends. And I'd like to have them. So I just don't know how to intercept that community. I don't know. So I'm so integrated with my mom's side. I don't know how to integrate with that side. So I'm trying to learn Arabic.
And hoping that would
yeah, but still, even if I do, I still don't know how to get in there.
Okay. So you can just go to Palace and
And strike up a random
conversation.
Yeah.
I'll go with you. Don't worry. I'm like, yeah, this is my guy. He's trying to. Anyway, okay. No. Now you seem like a very well-adjusted young man, except for when you want to beat people for saying Libya. How do you think not having your father around has affected you, both positively and negatively? Because it can't all be bad, right?
Yeah, it did have an effect, but not what you might think. It's not the effect as... Obviously, I did want a father. I was wondering who is my father, and I did think no more when I was a kid. It wasn't my dad.
So when did you realize that he wasn't your dad?
Oh no, like... I just trying to figure like stop deceiving yourself, bro. Like as a kid, I had a lot of self-awareness, so I just like, stop deceiving yourself. Just go back to your room and play with your toys. Yeah, but not having... When I was a kid, I had really soft features. I had long curly hair and nice fair skin, big buttocks.
What?
No, I say that because a lot of people like your buttocks is big.
This conversation went left really fast.
Yeah, so the thing is, as a kid, a lot of people will ask my mom, is it a boy or girl? And I'm like, what do you mean it's?
That was unexpected. Okay.
And like, so I had to be... That question was asked a lot. So without a father to especially instill certain masculine traits in me, then again, if I'm around my mom, I'm around a lot of women. So growing up, very calm, quiet, reserved, soft. Yeah. So there was time people can walk all over me and I'll be like, have a nice day. Yeah. So not having that father figure didn't instill those masculine traits in me. And when I was a kid, honestly, if I grew up in the States, I might be... Someone can deceive me and say that maybe you're a girl inside, and I'll believe them. But no. Because it's Ghana, the culture is set in stone. You get it. So if you're a boy, you're a boy. So when my mom said, "Oh, it's a boy," then everyone refers to me as that. But in the beginning, they'll ask boy or girl, boy or girl, boy or girl. Try to understand. I mean, the Arabs, they know because everyone has long curly hair. Yeah, so they can tell. But for the average Ghanaian, cut your hair, it's either short or bald. Even Afro and braids, when I was young, it was not tolerated like that. So if you have long curly hair, most likely a girl.
That's a very interesting answer to my question.
Funny enough, when I was even in St. Thomas Aquinas, when they're debunking people, then the teacher doesn't want to debunk me, but he has to debunk me because
what is debunk?
Like when they take a scissors and they put it into your long hair.
So it's a punk and they are debunking it. All right, I get it.
So they go around, if you have long hair, your hair is going beyond listening. They go cut. And I think one time, he stepped out, he didn't come to me, and everyone was like, he's racist. Like, we should all be equal. If they're cutting their hair, just cut my hair. And I think the next day he came around and everyone, like, people were complaining, but my friends were not. So he came to me and put scissors in my hair. I was like, first I told him that it's part of my culture to have hair. And it's like, when you're in a room, do what Romans do. I'm like, no, but it's part of my culture to have hair, because previously I had some boy with Rasta. He's from Jamaica, and he said being Rastafarian is part of his culture, so he can't cut his dreadlocks. So you have to make an exception. So I heard about that. I didn't know the conclusion to that, so I also tried it. So it's part of my culture. I don't want to cut my hair, and I don't think you should put scissors as put in everyone's hair and can't put in my hair. And he was like, in Ghana, do you urinate outside? I was like, yeah. He said, it's part of our culture to urinate outside. So in a room, do what Romans do. If he's cutting everyone's hair, he also cuts my hair. I didn't get his point, but I couldn't fight him. So he just cut my hair. I was really down that day. So I just went to the barber and gave me a really low cut. And funny enough, I've not been saying, okay, now I have a barber. But before, was no barber that cut my hair well enough. So it was always weird. My hair grew fast, so that worked. But then in high school, then they're like, you have to also do him some. If you're doing us, like, and like the teachers, they didn't want to feel like they are doing nepotism, like they are favoring me. So if they are beating everyone, they put extra effort. Into beating me. There's so many things in high school that I didn't even understand, like the train of thought. I think about, I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but yet you do it. I'm like, okay, this is what you're doing wrong. Okay. Let's romance do.
Okay. So I'm trying to make sure we don't miss anything significant. But so going back to growing up without
dad, yes.
A dad.
So
because sometimes this is what happens, right? If there are some people who, because they maybe didn't have a dad present, they're very self-aware and realize what they missed out on as a child. That then puts them in position to be better fathers because they are present. You know, it's the kind of thing that you might take for granted if your father is there.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have it, you then think, okay, I remember I felt like this, so I don't want my child to feel this way. What do you think that you're positioned to actually consider these things and think about it just because you had that experience?
Yes. So when my dad was around, actually watching movies and TVs, and I see people with like mom and dads, and you know, then I also watch the black TV, and you know, it's like all the dads run out, so then you relate to. But when I was younger, I always wanted a sister. I'd always tell my mom, I want a sister, someone I can take care of, someone I can be a big brother to, someone I can help. And at some point, I realized that wasn't happening. So I now want to be a father. I mean, not yet, though, but like I keep looking forward to it. Looking forward to a time where I can have my kids. So I want to do so much for them and have enough that when they come, they don't have to go through what I had to go through, even with my mom. Because when I was younger, my mom was open about a lot of things, especially when I could understand. And when she realized I could understand, she was open about a lot of things that was happening. So when she did tell me, then I know that this is, so I didn't want for a lot of things. Yeah, because you have to be considerate. Yeah, then so growing up, I'm like, I don't want my kids to have gone through what I went through. I want to give them as many opportunities as possible, whatever they want to do. And like, for example, Bitcoin. I knew about Bitcoin when I was a kid. When I was in East Legon, I knew about Bitcoin. And growing up, I was like, if I can mine Bitcoin, if I can just get a processor, if I can just do this. I go on YouTube and one guy I type Bitcoin, there's barely any videos, and there's one guy going around the street saying that I'll give you one Bitcoin if you give me $1. And everyone is just ignoring him. And I'm like, you guys don't know the value of this thing. I know I just need a processor to mine. And I look on the internet, they're so expensive, and I don't want to put that pressure on my mom, but like, I know this thing is going to be something. And I don't want my kids to grow up forgetting that I knew that this thing is going to work, and it didn't work because no shame on my mom. Like she did the best she could. Honestly, she did a lot for me. Yeah, but honestly, processor is a luxury. Yeah, then it's a luxury.
Yeah.
But I want to have kids, and I want everything to be provided for them. I've already structured how the order in which they're going to come, if God permits, to come in that order, and how I'm going to nurture them and help them grow, the kind of people they're going to be. It's like I've determined their lives before they even exist, but not determining what they want to do, but at least providing everything to ensure that they don't lack, but they still know the value of what they have.
And then when you have a family, that's finally going to be the group that you know you belong.
Exactly.
Right? That is your
exactly.
Your
That is
team,
that's
right?
that's mine.
Okay. So on that note, I want us to try to wrap up, but do you have any message for any young boy who might be mixed but doesn't feel like he belongs? and so is going through whatever you were going through maybe when you were 11, 12, 13. What message would you give them right now about what the future could look like?
I would say, first of all, don't take everything to heart. Don't really take. You're not going to agree with everyone. You're not going to like what everyone says. Everyone is entitled to their beliefs or their train of thoughts. You just have to learn to tolerate and just find good friends. Because the moment you find good friends, they see beyond your appearance. They see beyond certain things that most people would. And when you find that group of people that you can say that these are my friends, and you click with them, and you find your people, until you can create your people. Yeah, until then, you should just be tolerant and have that in it, because you'll be surprised by having that the friends does more than you think. Because having a group of people that I can relate to, regardless of what you look like or how you sound or anything, that actually means a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much.